Bitcoin's a flight to quality. I heard that from Larry Fink. Every hour losing purchasing power on foolish out there. It's not our fault. Blame the cult. It's the political cowards. When it comes to gas, our purchasing power just got cut in half. I sit back and laugh, open my bag, fill it with stacks and sats. Bitcoin, bumping. Altcoins, bumping. I've been preparing for this. Can't tell me nothing.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a flight to quality. We are hearing from clients around the world.
Bitcoin, bumping. Altcoins, bumping. I've been preparing for this.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as
Bitcoin, bumping. Altcoin, bumping.
We are hearing from clients around the world.
Can't nobody tell me nothing.
Crypto, depending on how you think about it. And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a
Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin.
Are you guys ready to dive into these charts? Are you ready to look at what's going on? Let's look at some levels. Let's look at what might be coming. Is Ethereum ETF approval going to kick off an alt season? Are we going to get a dump? Throw a one in chat if you're ready to dive into this. Let's go. Let's make this chat fly by today. I'm going to be reading what you got to say. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream. My name is Kelly Kellum. Welcome to the show. I appreciate you all being here. I love each and every one of you. My purpose here is to make sure you don't make some of the same mistakes I made 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago when I was, because I was trading traditional assets before I even got into crypto. But you know what? I lost so much money early on because there are some key things that I didn't do. And that's what my purpose is here, is to help foster a community of all of you here. Every one of you here that's in the live chat, every one of you here that's tuned in. If you're not subscribed, I don't know what you're doing. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Look below. If it doesn't say subscribed, hit the subscribe button and ding the bell so you get notified. Got another video coming out this afternoon with one of our channel partners, Galactics, talking about Web3 gaming adoption and some really awesome ways that they are reinventing and pulling in a whole new approach to online gaming and gambling and Web3, all kind of really great stuff. That's going to be going out at 3 p.m. today, this afternoon. We got to talk about what's going on right here, though. Let's look at this blue line. What the hell is this blue line? This is that mark I've been talking about for about 2 or 3 weeks. May 22nd. Talking about May 22nd. I've been talking about this for 3 weeks regarding I was expecting price action to get a little spicy coming into this date, and look at exactly what we got. Not only did we get a higher low, then the breakout, higher low. Now breakout not only from this point here, but also this descending level of resistance here. We just blasted right through it. And we've got some big things to talk about today, because today we've got the NVIDIA earnings reports. Yes, it's a traditional asset, but it's a bellwether of what's going on in that AI super tech space. And remember, we've got a lot of altcoins that a lot of you are trading. Are you trading? Throw a one in chat if you are buying, holding, or trading any of those AI facing plays, like whether it be NEAR or GRT or Fetch or Ocean or AGIX. There's a lot, and there's a lot more, of course, as well. There's Chlor AI, there's Purple AI, there's PAL, there's a lot out there, but we got to talk about that in those NVIDIA earnings that are coming out this afternoon after the bell close. I think around 4 or 4:30 p.m. Eastern time is going to really, could really jumpstart more bullishness in the market, but it also could create a temporary sell-off if not only, remember, NVIDIA can actually perform very well, better than it did last time. But if it doesn't meet some of the estimations Wall Street gave, that could cause a little bit of a temporary sell-off. But we're seeing beautiful bullishness on Bitcoin coming up into this. But what we really need to be paying attention today is look at this. This is that flip right here. This is the flip from when all those the suggested estimations or the probabilities of ETH getting their ETF approved. This is when that flipped right here, and you can see it in the chart when it went from 25% possibility to 75%. Boom, and we're seeing them scrambling. We're going to talk about a little bit about why here in just a moment. We're going to be going over a couple altcoins. We're going to be breaking down some TA. We're going to be talking about some things that you need to pay attention to, because yes, I know every one of you right now. I know everyone. Let me say this right now. I know every one of you wants to know what levels you should be buying, where you should be selling, what every single trade is. But if you're not looking at the bigger picture, zooming out a little bit, taking some context that the news narratives are giving you, then you're not going to be able to really harness the best profit potential in this market. We need to zoom out. We need to see, okay, I'm trading AI altcoins. Well, you still need to pay attention to what's going on with NVIDIA. Okay, I'm trading whether or not the ETH ETF happens. Okay, well, we need to pay attention to what is going on in the political sphere around crypto and its acceptability throughout the House of throughout the House of Representatives, the Senate, throughout the U.S. government. And we're seeing big shifts right now. We're going to break that down, so make sure that you stay in the right side of the trade. So if you would, every single one of you, as you roll in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. Again, shout out to our channel partners, Galactics. You can find the link for them right down below in the description. Changing the whole world of gaming. But let's talk about some of these things that are going on in the market right now. We're going to jump into a couple of these stories. We're going to be looking at some great charts, some on-chain signals, as well as TA here in a little bit. So, but let's look at this. I mean, we are back at almost $2.6 trillion. We are doing so well right now. And so many of you were frustrated a week ago because the price wasn't doing anything. Well, when you look at it on a time basis and understand what's happening within the scope of the market cycles, we knew that we would likely get some sort of consolidation around that level. If we come back over to this chart, I know I show this chart to you all regularly, but if we come back over here, let's go to the daily and just remind ourselves, what did it do before? This is a previous all-time high range right in the zone. Price action came back up to it. Oh my God, it chopped around. It was over and then it launches, right? What happened again? Here's the top all-time high range. The next all-time highs at 64 and 69. And we see when we get into the zone, double click here, let's delete this Fibonacci. We can see price action is just hovering around this range. Now, I want you to notice something as well. On this market cycle low, I don't know if you could see it. Let me come to this chart right. Oh, you can't see it on that one either. But my point is, on this market cycle low, we kind of tested quite a bit above where the previous all-time high was. I haven't seen anybody talk about this. Now, in this case, the reason why I'm referencing this is you see how we overshot here from the previous range highs, the previous all-time highs. Well, we also went below the previous all-time highs here. The low on this bear cycle low actually deviated below this previous all-time high, which we didn't see before. And then similarly, it's almost like we're having a balancing of the scales. In this case, on the way up, we overshot. So we went below where an expected range could be on the exact price level. And in this case, we went above. And so it makes sense that we've been having to do some work and have the price action. Okay, we went above it, mean reversion back down, overshot a little bit, coming back. We are still, you have to realize, even with this pump to the upside, we are still in a range sideways. Nothing structurally has changed yet. So yes, I'm excited. Yes, it feels bullish. Yes, it feels good. Throw a 2 in chat if you've been preparing this whole time and you haven't been capitulating. I hope I see all 2s. And if you have capitulated a little bit, learn from it. Because when the market is triggering you to feel incredibly emotional and scared, that's typically a sign that you should be buying. So this, my point is, feels good, but this is only a setup for the next move until we break out of this zone. I see so many people in the room today. Big shout out to everybody. If you are new here, again, welcome to the show. My name is Kelly Kellum, and I just want to make sure every one of you dominates in this coming continuation of this bull trend, because I think some magic's about to happen. Shout out to Falco gifting 1 membership here to the BitLab show. We do have a BitLab member stream today, tomorrow, and Friday. I'm coming after it this week. And if whether you're a BitLab Academy member in the Discord or here on YouTube, I just want to shout this out actually really quick. If you come over here, if you're a BitLab member on YouTube only, come over here to the community page and you will see, I'm going to post a link here today for 2 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be doing basically like a TA masterclass thing here, just to reset everybody, know how to set your lines, know how to figure out where to make your calls, stack your probabilities. So pay attention to this community page if you're a BitLab member. If you're not a BitLab member, join right now here on the YouTube or in the Academy. Now let's continue on. Let's talk about what we want to talk about. we've got some things I'm going to set up, and then we're going to dive into the TA. Everybody throw a 1 in chat right now if audio, visual, everything's good. Of course, I just got back in the studio from my travels. I just want to make sure there's no issue with any of the audio, visual. Now, looking at this number of Bitcoin held, Grayscale, BlackRock. Remember, this isn't all ETFs. This is just BlackRock. They started around 620,000 Bitcoin, and they're down to over here. This has actually changed a little bit since then, but this is how fast not only the rotation out of Grayscale happened, but also just new naked buying, new buyers coming in to the BlackRock ETF. And this also is echoed in the Fidelity ETF, and now also we're starting to see some movement in the ARC ETF. But we just saw also there was around 960 or nearly 1,000 institutional buyers stacking into Bitcoin in Q1. 1,000. That's not one domino. That's not two. That's not the whole set. That's the entire, I mean, this is so astronomically bullish. And the reason why this is important is because we are now about to have very high likelihood at this point, the ETH ETF potentially get approved tomorrow. Now, there's something we need to pay attention to. If the ETH ETF is approved, we have two things we need to pay attention to. We already had the BlackRock ETF not only approved and go live, we're seeing an astronomical, exponential, record-breaking buying pressure and appetite for the Bitcoin ETF. Now we're having the ETH ETF. It does not mean we're going to get the same exact volume flow, but now we actually have a bellwether. We have an example that there is appetite for assets in this crypto space bought through traditional asset mechanisms like an ETF, putting it on balance sheets. We see institutions aping in 10 times more than they've been aping in, 10 times more than they've been buying gold in Q1. ETH is set up for an insane amount of buying pressure. However, I do not think we're going to have the same setup that we saw with Bitcoin where it was approved and launched the next day. Because this was rushed and really put through in the last 3 or 4 days, very, very short time frame, it's likely we'll get, a minimum a week, maybe even 2 to 4 weeks, something like that, before it's actually launched and actually available to trade. So pay attention to that. The appetite is there. The stage is set. Market cycle is looking great. Liquidity is coming back in. Are you not bullish? Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Ding the bell. Join us here in the BitLab Academy. Watch us on a daily basis. I'm trying to keep you up to date with unbiased news and tools and resources in this market. So understanding this, understanding that there's been this huge rotation out of Grayscale into BlackRock, but we're also seeing, we've seen on the charts I've been sharing with you, the fact that the rotation out of Grayscale is actually now turned into net buying. We also just saw a changing of the guards of Grayscale with the new CEO. Of course, somebody's had to roll because they've had so many, probably more outflows than they were expecting. But that also has to do a little bit with their fee structure. Maybe that'll change. That would be astronomically bullish because it would have less pressure or less influence on people leaving because it has a higher fee structure than all the other ETFs that are out there. We can also see right here, this is actually the chart that shows that IBIT has actually officially flipped Grayscale. Now remember, Grayscale was a trust before multiple years, and BlackRock just ate their dinner and lunch for breakfast, getting this amount of assets under management. But Fidelity's not that far behind. ARK Invest is starting to tick up as well. We have Bitwise. We have the appetite there, and we're seeing so much bullishness on what's going on in this market. Now, here we go. Not only do we have these ETF news and the buying pressure and all this stuff here in the US, we're having people buy and show and get different nation states are allowing the buying of US-based spot ETFs. In addition to this, we see Bitcoin ETFs approved also now to list on the London Stock Exchange. That's another billions and billions and billions of dollars that have access now to the Bitcoin spot ETF. This is, I mean, things are so bullish right now. I don't know. If you're not bullish, then you must be sitting in a dark corner staring at the wall, counting sheep that are speaking Japanese. I don't know what you're doing if you're not bullish right now. Even if we dip from here, the stage is beautiful. Now, setting the stage even further. Unfortunately, we're seeing that Bitcoin and crypto has become a bit of a political issue. And this is stupid because in the US especially, we're supposed to be for the people, by the people. It's supposed to be freedom. It's supposed to be access to family and friends and your money. No, all that's limited. It's all, the US is a farce of what a democracy is. It's a charade. But what we are seeing, we're starting to see here from Senator Cynthia Luma says there is a bipartisan majority in both chambers of Congress in favor of crypto. The future is very bright. This is huge because we just also saw Donald Trump is now accepting Bitcoin. I think Cardano, I believe Ethereum. There's a list of crypto that he's accepting as campaign donations. And this is clearly a bipartisan, non-bipartisan issue for the current president. And I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. We don't need to get into all that. When we're talking right now, we're talking specifically about bullishness and support of crypto within our government. But unfortunately, Biden is faltering a little bit. So much so that he actually has a campaign message here that he's basically trying to be, like cryptocurrencies trying to essentially, they're coming out of the woodwork, investing or lobbying into and paying political donations to for this upcoming election. I mean, Biden should be supporting this. And we're starting to see, I think he's going to get pushed that direction. I shared this yesterday. Bitcoin and crypto, both stages set. Global liquidity coming back. Bitcoin and altcoin market cycles suggest up now, which is where we're at within that 4-year cycle. Institutions aping into Bitcoin at an exponential rate. No. Hey, everybody, it's Bitcoin Pizza Day. Should we be ordering pizza for Bitcoin Pizza Day? Yes? Yeah, you can do that. We're going to do it. U.S. government is starting to more broadly get a clue. Blockchain is here to stay. Support it. Don't deny freedom. Don't deny the future. You are not bullish enough. This is what I was talking about right here. Dozens of Democrats, including Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, have broken with her in recent days, talking about Elizabeth Warren, and supported an effort to undo SEC guidelines that critics say discourage banks from holding digital assets. The Democrats defied not only Warren, who seems to be on a singular warpath with the crypto markets. I wonder how many big banks are paying her bills, but also President Joe Biden, who is threatening to veto the rollback. The rift may grow further next week when the House takes up sweeping industry-backed legislation to incorporate crypto trading into federal financial regulations. This is just the stage. The stage is set. I mean, Republicans and Democrats, we're seeing a growing appetite and approval for the support of empowering regulation rather than just crushing regulation like Gary Gensler is doing. And we can also see right here, the White House now, see how quick the pendulum's swinging? The White House issues a new statement saying it will not veto HR 4763. Huge win for crypto. So we're starting to get a little bit of the pendulum swinging, and it's only going to become more and more bullish for Bitcoin. And again, everybody, we're going to be diving into these charts here in just a second. I'm going to show you some levels. I'm going to show you some setups. So stick with me here. We got some things. We have to zoom out. We have to look at the broader picture. So then when we zoom in, we have a clear idea of what's going on and where the pressures lie. Now, looking at this, we have the ETH ETF, which this got rushed through almost immediately, because we can see when we look at this this ETH chart, this large explosion in price action right here is when James Seyffart and Eric Baltunas basically updated their probability for the ETH ETF approval from, they're like, okay, we were wrong. It's not 25%. It's going to be closer to 75. Now, this morning, I heard them say it was closer in the 90s. And I think this has a big part to do with the fact that we are in an election cycle year. The fact that the Bitcoin ETF, we're not only seeing huge appetite, we're also seeing the bipartisan support on these different bills in the House for crypto. And we see Trump out there now accepting crypto and actually specifically saying, I think Bitcoin's good. We should support regulation that empowers it, not push companies out of this country, which is essentially you're not only pushing companies out of the country, crypto type companies, blockchain type companies, because of the crushing regulation, you're also limiting the ability for the everyday person, which the government does not like supporting y'all's freedoms and y'all's ability to grow. And that's unfortunately, fortunately, that's one of the things. This right here, blockchain creates equity. Blockchain creates transparent understanding of what's being spent, how it's being spent, when and where. And you can, it's not like you need to be a registered investment person to go and get involved, early. You have, no, you want to buy it, buy it. You want to sell it, sell it. That's what crypto is about. If you want to change your future, buy and hold, right? So the government and our administration is starting to understand that. And we're seeing if ETF does get approved, remember, we may have to wait a week or two, 5 weeks, 8 weeks, who knows how long. It's been up to 4 months or more, and other type of asset ETFs to go from approval to launch. I think it's going to be much quicker than that. I think our U.S. government currently, including the SEC and the current administration, is also realizing they're not doing as well in the polls. And so they're going to do everything they can to now attract people back by fast tracking some of these things. And I think that's more likely what we're seeing. So if the ETF is approved, is it going to kick off an alt mania? Well, let's take the ETH approval out of it. Let's just look at the chart. This is the Bitcoin dominance. We've got this rising level of support here. And now this is the key point. Not that this fell down, because look, this fell down too and came back up. The difference here, what do you see? When you see a breakdown of a trend line, this is true for dominance, this is true for price, this is true for oil, this is true for Cardano, this is true for any asset you can trade and chart. What do you see preceding this breakdown? You have a high. Was this high higher than the one before? Yes. Okay, so this is showing the same things that we did here. Breakdown, up, okay. Breakdown, this one was a little bit lower. So this one was a little bit of an anomaly, but you see now this is higher, drop. The previous drop is higher. So push up, drop. This drop, higher. Now what do we have here? We're breaking down to a new low from this range. So not only do we get remember I always talk about this, when you have any charted action on a chart, if you break down to a new low of a range and you then follow it up with a new lower high, then this gives me a different context about what this is showing. Now, why do we care about the dominance, Kelly? We want to trade. We want to know when to buy, when to sell. We want to make money. Well, good. Sit down and shut up. Be patient. Look at this data, because this is signaling interest going back into the alts if this were to break down from this zone. Yes, this is a small little retracement here. I expect we'll probably get a little bit of a pop-up. If we do have the continuation to the downside, this would be incredibly, incredibly bullish for the alts out there. So if the ETH ETF sparks some excitement and gets approved, actually, if it gets approved, that is going to send quite a bit of capital interest into the altcoin market broadly. It's going to be focused more on Ethereum, but the alt market will be doing very well. And this is giving that leading signal about potentially coming down here. Yeah, I see Alexander G says 228 viewers, 50 likes. Everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. By the way, I do want to shout out, we have a drawing that we're doing. I'll be drawing later this week. And Theo Rodriguez, I sent you a message for last week. Send me your info so we can get you all sorted. This right here, where did it go? Right here. If you go and retweet this tweet, you can be entered to win $100 USDT. Retweet to win. It's one winner is going to be selected. We're going to draw it randomly from those who retweet and hit the like button. I just put it in the live chat. Come here, retweet this. You can be entered to win $100 USDT. And if you go and sign up, always make sure you have a VPN on. I always do Liechtenstein or Brazil. I don't want people to know where my computer is so they can't try and hack my crypto. It's a safety mechanism, but it also allows you to participate in some of these things that are regulated away. There's no KYC on this and all this, but it's incredible. Whole new take on iGaming, a lot of games, role-playing, RPG style, basically iGaming casino. Really cool. And you can also, once you do sign up, you can participate in the $25,000 referral competition. That link is on this. It's galactics.io. And then you can do / click on this. You'll attribute it to me. Be a great supporter of the channel. Get in on that. And so we got to talk about this. So this is a breakdown. What do the altcoins look like right now? This is an altcoin macro setup. Trend line, top, top, top. We have higher lows here. This is a macro, of course, but this is what we're looking at. This setup here before the launch and this little hiccup. This is similar to when we're looking on Bitcoin at that $17,000 to $19,000 range. I don't know what happened. There we go. That $17,000 to $19,000 range last cycle, and this cycle, same thing. Bitcoin consolidating at the previous all-time high. In that same vein, the altcoins in that same period of time, they run a little bit slower. So you see this is quite a bit lower from the previous all-time high. This is that hiccup, all-time high, quite a bit lower from that all-time high. This is this hiccup. What do you see next? You see explosive gains. For those that don't get impatient and chopped out in this range, they can enjoy this range. This is what we're waiting on. So what does it look like a little bit more zoomed in? Well, here with from Mustache or El Crypto Prof, you can see I told you several times that the market would become interesting again in the second half of May. See, other people look at different things, and a lot of us are coming to the same conclusion. I told you all 3 weeks ago, and I put a line on my chart talking about the Bitcoin price coming into this blue line. This blue line's been on the chart, talking about May 22nd, May 23rd. And this regionally, I mean, this is basically, look, pushing up into this. We could get a little sell-off here, but I expect more likely than not that we will have a continuation to the upside. Why? So many reasons. We have the NVIDIA earnings report this afternoon. We have the FOMC meeting minutes that are coming out today, right after the stream. I'll probably be watching alongside all of you on the Tom Crown Show. Shout out to Tommy Boy. I always watch the FOMC meeting minutes with him. Great channel if you're not following that. But we also have, I hate to say it, I'm not a moon trader, but you cannot ignore the fact that the correlation, and even if it has nothing to do with the moon, maybe it's just, we're just on a cycle that's correlating right now on a 14 and 30-day cycle of price action movements up and down. So we look at this and we pull this up on the chart. We're on the daily. Look at this, full moon up, full moon up, full moon up. Full moon had a little bit of it up into the full moon and then sell off, but we had a downtrend right here. But look at this, full moon up, full moon up, full moon up, full moon up, full moon kind of flat, but full moon up, full moon up, full moon, a little bit of chop down, then launch. We're seeing the full moon up, full moon. It's not going to be exact, but the point is, take off the moon. Who cares about the moon? Not trying to do foo-foo analysis with you. I just saw that on the time basis. And if that's measuring a certain amount of time because the moon phases are, have a regular schedule, then we can also correlate with the fact of the price movement schedule, whether it has anything to do with the moon or not. But coupling the full moon with the NVIDIA reports, with the ETF approval likely tomorrow, with coming into the end of the month, with the election cycle, I mean, the list, it doesn't stop. There's just so much bullishness right now. And this is this is a total market cap, total 2. So it's all crypto minus Bitcoin. Look at this descending broadening wedge, a descending broadening wedge or a descending channel or a falling wedge. Those patterns that point to the downside tend to break to the upside. So we see this break basically ranging on a descending range. Once this comes down to here, this is where it gets different. We create a trend line right here. This is all the alts in the market, Ethereum and all those alts you're trading. We break down, touch this again, and this is where it changes. On this push up, the price action comes down, and if you drew a line from this top to this top to this top, you can see a shifting of the guards. You see the price action now finding support on this. Even though it's trending down, there's a bullish twist to this descension because the price action is now riding this trend line, not going down below it. In addition to this, what do we always do? We don't just look at price. Price can fool you beyond anything you can imagine because price, if that's your focus, is going to trigger your emotions. If you look at price in conjunction with at least one data point, like in this case, RSI, descending trend line, resistance. Similarly, very similarly, this top to this top to this top, price, the RSI strength breaks above this, comes down, finds support. It's not breaking below this though. So this is showing the bulls are like no, we're not letting it go down. We're going to build up the strength and we're going to launch. And what do we get? Boom, the launch happens right here, bounce stiffly off. And this is also where the price action stiffly moves up. Now, currently, there's two things you need to pay attention to. The price, the chart shows that we did break this descending level of resistance, but this is precarious because this is not a full clean break yet. This is just sitting right at it. Regionally, you could say we haven't really broken out of it yet. You want to have this retest a little bit and then launch, break past this little wick high right here. Otherwise, you could get caught in a little bit of a trap here. But I would argue if this does break down, if the altcoin markets do break down a little bit, for instance, if this pushes down and we find support anywhere about where these tops are, that to me would be ultimately very bullish for an actual continued leg to the upside. So the setup is here, everybody. The setup is here. In addition to the setup, we can see the fuel for which the fire will burn, baby. And that is right here. Stable dominance has just rejected from its first ever 20 and 200 week death cross. While you're zoomed in and talking about cycle tops, there's some people that were like, no, it's going down, down, down. Historic stablecoins, markdown looks to be loading. Now, why do we care about stablecoin dominance? There's been a huge amount of stablecoins that were just printed on Tether, but we're also seeing the dominance, meaning people have moved out of the, so you look at all the liquidity in the entire crypto market. They see, okay, what percentage of the total liquidity of all crypto is in, is in crypto? How much of that is fully only represented by stablecoins? That's DAI, that's USDT, that's USDC, etc. This dominance, when it's going up, means that there's coins that are being sold into the stablecoin. So you're getting a growth in that liquidity that is represented by stablecoins. When you start seeing it descend, it's an indication that the psychology of the market, look at this beautiful rounding top too, by the way. This is an indication, this rounding top, and then this breakdown, we have a death cross. This actually came back up and tested this. This is a sign that the movement of the market is moving towards rolling and rotating their capital from stablecoins back into buying positions. This is bullish as you could be. It's a setup for bullishness. Sometimes maybe it's another week. Maybe it's 3 months. I don't care. I am in this to make money, and I'm going to do whatever I can to make money. And I'm going to do whatever I can to help you all see these signals and read these signals. We're about to get into some TA here in just a moment, but I do want to just point this out. Caleb Franzen says, should be a weird but boring session today until this afternoon. We have the FOMC meeting minutes at 2 p.m. Now, remember, the FOMC meeting was, several weeks ago. But then we also have the meeting minutes, which gives everybody a little bit deeper sort of view about what was discussed at that FOMC meeting. If there's any tonality or any questions or any comments within those different Fed board members that discussing, potential dates of when, the change on interest rates will be, if there's indication that maybe we need to hike one more time, but it gives you insight into what that tone is. So this could be a catalyst for movement in either direction. However, I think if it is a movement in the down direction, I think it's going to be somewhat temporary. Man, we got Mark Dutch in the house. Big shout out to you, my friend. Alexander G, Chris Pfaff, Crypto Crank, Sawtooth Hiker, Dave Middleton. We got so many of the OGs in the house. How many of you all that's watching right now has been watching for 6 months or more? Throw a 1 in chat. If you've joined us here in the last month, 6 weeks, throw a 2 in chat. I want to welcome you here to the family. This is a positive spot, positive place, positive community. I'm part of this community with you. I am not your leader. We are doing this together. I hope I can share some of the things I've learned, and I hope I can learn some things from you guys as well. This is a family. This is a positive vibe here on the space, giving you those tools. Now, FOMC meeting minutes 2, NVIDIA earnings after 4 p.m., probably after 4:30 p.m. Both will have the opportunity to move the market significantly, so traders will be cautious to make sizable decisions before then. Now, this is likely going to be a little bit more attributed to the traditional markets, but we need to be aware of this. Now, following this up, we can see right here, the Kobayashi letter says it's officially NVIDIA earnings day. This is huge. Because think about what drove the Industrial Revolution. First, it was steel. Then it was figuring out, oh, we can make a train. Then it was the infrastructure for which delivered the Industrial Revolution to our doorsteps, which is the train tracks. Laying train tracks across the country is what shaped the U.S. It's what shaped much of the developed world. Who the hell cares about train tracks, Kelly? We're in the digital age. This is one of those ultimate train tracks for the digital age. NVIDIA, graphics processing, computational force, the mechanism, the foundation for which the future is going to be built on and evolved beyond. Shout out to Crypto Crank, says, read my other super chat. Oh, well, I apologize. Let me get to that right now. He said, 75K to buy right now, 2 coins. You pick both. Go. Well, I'll give you 4 because I don't want to be, I'm not going to pick what coins you guys buy. I'm going to share what I'm interested in. I'm going to share what I'm also seeing. Maybe some stuff I'm not interested in, but I think it's still a good asset. But there's so much greatness out there. It depends for 2 things. It depends on what your time horizon is, Crypto Crank. And it also depends if you're talking about for basically the next 12 months, through this bull cycle. It also depends on if you have an other portfolio as well. But if I had to just say, okay, say it's my family member. I'm not giving you all advice. Say it's my family member. And they have, 10,000, 70,000, 100,000, whatever it is. And they say they only want to pay attention to two coins. I'll give 4 and you have to pick which ones really fit your narrative. I really like NEAR because it's part of the AI DePIN play as well as the layer 1 smart contract. And it's got a great community, and I know some really big people in the space that really love it as well. I think there's going to be some big developments there. So I would say, I would say NEAR. I'm going to give you 4 again. NEAR, Chainlink, Polkadot, interoperability, right? Let me go ahead and look. I just layered into some Chainlink this morning. So yeah, so Injective is great too, but NEAR, yeah, Polkadot. I would ONDO would be on there, and NEAR, Polkadot, Chainlink, ONDO. That's hard when you limit it to such a few numbers. And maybe a small allocation towards GRT. I really like GRT because GRT, kind of like when you go, the way we all navigate the internet, that is made possible by having something like Google, by having something like Yahoo. Back in the day, Alta Vista, Ask Jeeves, InfoSeek. There's a lot of indexers. That's what GRT is. It's an index AI that is attempting or basically trying to deploy the index mechanism to list and retrieve data from all the different blockchain projects out there. So if you're trying to find something, you don't have to go to each individual ecosystem to use their functionality to find stuff. It's basically trying to index the data across various different blockchains. Similar to interoperability, right? But it's not that. It's just trying to say, okay, what do you guys have? Let's index it so we can search and utilize this stuff effectively. I think that's going to be a big deal there. And I'd throw stacks on there too. But let's get back over there. Shout out. Thank you so much for the super chat, by the way. I do appreciate that. Link definitely on there for sure. And I'm doing another Polkadot video this afternoon with some really cool developments I saw. We saw stablecoins coming down. What else were we talking about? NVIDIA. Okay, this is what we're talking about. This is what I was talking about. With stocks, it's different from the crypto market we're in. With stocks, it doesn't matter if NVIDIA outperforms what it did last time. I mean, it does, but the tradability of what's going to happen in the next 2 days is going to be built around whether or not they hit expected revenue or they came below it. Not how did this do compared to last earnings report? How did you do in relationship to what was basically projected? In this case, it says NVIDIA is expected, this is what right here, NVIDIA is expected to report 24.5 billion in revenue for 24 billion in Q1. To put this in perspective, this reflects 241% year-over-year revenue growth for the third largest company in the world. Just 5 years ago, NVIDIA reported Q1 revenue of only $2 billion. It's more than a 10x, marking a 1,000, see, more than 10x, more than 1,000% increase in 5 years. EPS the earnings expectations are at $5.13 for Q1, marking a massive 482% year-over-year jump. In Q1 2024, NVIDIA contribution to the S&P 500 EPS growth is estimated to reach 40% of S&P 500's EPS. That's just earnings per share. That's what EPS is. Today's a big day. Regardless of what happens in the next day or two from this earnings report, the growth is clear. And it's not growth like we saw in the 2002 dot-com era, where there was a bubble around technology because people were excited about it, but they did not yet really know how to fully implement it quickly and actually have it utilized in a meaningful way. NVIDIA is in a different strata right now because the world over, large in part, understands at minimum how to just engage with technology, right? Computers are a mainstay in anybody in the second or first world, some third world countries as well. I mean, people are trading Bitcoin on their cell phones in third worlds. So technology is entwined and engaged and fully integrated into our lives. In addition to that, we have an exponential use case and implementation of that use case growing with what's happening with AI and its integration in real ways. In addition to graphics, in addition to the metaverse, there's so many different things going on, and all of it goes back to foundational elements like what's the chipset you're using and can it process this data? The world's oil now is data. What processes that oil? What processes this data? Graphic sets like NVIDIA. They've been evolving their technology. So I expect, regardless of any dip, if it does come, it's a great long-term play. Now, I just want to remind you all of this. Check this out really quick because we're about to hop into some charts. Let's unmute that. There we go. If you spend $1 million every day, it will take you 2,740 years to reach 1 trillion. That's 1 trillion. The U.S. national debt is now 34.7 trillion and rising by 1 trillion every 100 days. So what does Jerome Powell have to say?
Fair to say you simply flooded the system with money.
Yes, we did. That's another way to think about it.
Where does it come from? Do you just print it?
We print it digitally. We also print actual currency.
Can the president fire you?
I have a 4-year term, and I fully intend to serve it.
So no, in your view?
No.
So as silly as that is for our Fed, for our monetary mismanagement institutions, our governments, that's incredibly bullish for an asset that is a complete counterpoint to that narrative, which is what Bitcoin is. So I am bullish. I hope you're all bullish. Let's dive into some charts. Let's start it with this one right here, and then we're going to look at some TA and talk about some levels. Total inflows into the Bitcoin network starting to moon again. Total inflows. Let me read that again. Total inflows. Capital flowing. Fuel for upside price action. Support buyers saying, I want to buy here. I agree this is a fair value price. Starting to moon again. Light green is the net flows from spot ETFs. So everybody thinks it's just ETFs. This little representation, this is ETF. This is a capital flow outside the ETFs. And we can see here, yes, ETFs are on the rise again, but the capital, look at how much capital flow is just setting up like it was here, setting up like it was here. What do we see? Boom. What we see? Boom. I'm excited. Now, by the way, before we dive into these charts, make sure you're giving me a follow. There's a lot of fake profiles out there. Spell it right, Kelly, Kellam. You can also see it right there, the only way to spell it. The link is down below in the description as well. Make sure you're following BitLab Academy here at Academy BitLab. There's a fake account out there that's at Academy BitLab _. go and block and report that account. This is the correct account at Academy BitLab. So shout out there. And again, also before we dive into this chart, shout out to Arculus. If you're going to be participating in the crypto ecosystem, remember, you are your own bank. Protect yourself. This is the best crypto hardware storage wallet out there. In fact, I got one right here. I just wanted to show you guys. Let me show you. This is what you get when you buy it. You can go to getarculus.com and use the code LAB10. You pull this out. Boom. You get this awesome little box here. This is the hardware wallet. This is all it is. You put it in your wallet, and then when you want to open it up, you just tap it, RFID, on the back of your phone like this. Loads up the app on your phone. If you lose this, it doesn't matter, because in order to access any of the funds, you need biometric, you need your PIN, and you also need the hardware device. So if you lose this, then you get a new one, and you tie the new card. You give it approval to attach to your wallet through your seed phrases and all that kind of stuff. Head over to getarculus.com. Use code LAB10, lab10 for 10% off. Now let's talk about what's going on here. Where is the chart? I had pulled out. Here we go. So the key levels we were talking about, short-term holder cost basis. I talked about it all the way this last cycle as well. But this entire cycle, I was talking about watching retracement, buy opportunities for when price action came back near the short-term holder cost basis. In this case, we had a little deviation below, proved to be a great buying point. Came back, tested it again, great buying point. This was the ETF sell-off. Launch, came back again, a couple $100 deviation below, great buying point. This is what we're looking for coming into the, I mean, we are going, so this market's going to be, so this next, this value bands here on Bitcoin strategy platform shows that we're kind of dealing with this overvalued zone. But remember, we can be overvalued for months and months and months. Look at this right here. I mean, this is where we had the previous all-time high test, and it was right at that overvalue band. But then look at, we went way up here into this basically extreme overvalued or heavy overvalued. In this case, I mean, right now, that's $130,000. As the market pushes up, you see right here, as the market pushed up, the average pushed up, this band also moved up. So currently, we could be all the way up to $130,000 before we got heavily overvalued, which is where the price rejects. But as you see, once we break this overvalued zone, this starts angling up sharply as well. So this could get all the way up into the 170s, the 210s, the 240s, depending on what kind of movement we have throughout the rest of the year. The point being is we've got a lot of room to go to the upside before we should really get worried. We also see stablecoin supply ratio, stablecoins getting deployed. What happens when they get deployed? Look, this was just before this launch. This was just before this launch. This was just before this launch. And we see this happening right now again. And then the last thing I wanted to show you was right here, realized profit and loss ratio. Look at this, came back down, reset, boom. What happened last cycle? Ooh, look, up, came back down, reset, push up. We had the Bart Simpson pattern, came back down, reset, and then launch. This came back down and reset each time here. And just, we still had the parabola to the upside. Everything that's been happening has been in concert with what you should expect to see in this market cycle. So we also saw we had a little bit of exchange flow back onto exchange, but then people got smart again and said, no, actually, this is a great spot in the market. Let's move our stuff off of exchange. So we're not getting a lot of sell pressure coming on anymore. Let me see. Ethan Smith. Ethan Smith says, Kelly just opened my wallet live. Would you guys like me to do some giveaways for Arculus wallets? Throw a one in chat. Maybe I could organize something to get you guys some cool stuff. Now let's go ahead and look at the price action. We've been looking at the daily. Great. Let's get down because I know we've been looking at macro. Let's look at a little bit smaller picture here. We have this downtrend here, deviation below, back up, found support. In so doing, right here, we created this inverted head and shoulders. The inverted head and shoulders on this area right here, the target has been met. Look at this. The target is basically, we've come right up into the zone. Now, let me go ahead and measure this again just to make sure I measured it. I measured it a little long, that's why. There it is. So we do this breakout, and look at this breakout. Look at where the price is. Came right up into the zone of the target that the price action told us, pay attention to this zone. So does this mean like everything's done and over because we're getting a little retracement? No, it came up into the zone, fulfilled the target. Now it's coming back and giving us another opportunity, testing where the conviction of the bulls is. And look, we just broke down to roughly about the 382. little deviation below, but then now found support. And as it stands right now on Bitcoin, kind of have this trend line that we're contending with. We may even trend all the way down here into the 68.3, which would not be a bad thing because you see this breakout did not come back down and test this descending level of resistance yet. Now we need to flip this to support. So my point is, if, not saying it has to happen, but if and when the price does start falling, don't go posting on Twitter, oh my God, Bitcoin's crashing. It's crashing. I don't know how to read a damn chart. No, look at the market pushing up. It broke a key level. For the price action to come back to this zone, there's two major points of confluence here, which is the golden pocket. That's this this zone right here, 0.618, 0.65 Fibonacci, the golden ratio, the ratio that organizes everything we see in nature. You see perfect flower petals. You see the way tree branches organize themselves. The nautilus shell, that's all the 0.618 golden ratio. Somehow in charts, probably because humans trade, this is a map of human psychology. When you have a push up, more often than not, you can get a price action, come back down to this golden pocket, and then launch. Now, it just so happens that this golden pocket is right in line with roughly about where this descending level of previous resistance was. So this would be a great opportunity if the price action came back down into this zone. Money flows positive. VWAP tried to come negative. It's angled back up. Stochastics tried to come negative. They found a little bit of a bottom here. See, found a little bit of a bottom here. Angled back up. RSI came down, have a higher low. This is, kind of doing some work here. There's a little hesitation right now at the FOMC meeting minutes. We got NVIDIA. We got the potential ETH ETF tomorrow. People are kind of like, okay, I want to trade, I want to move money, but there's some big things at play. So this is why you're seeing this sort of cat and mouse game with the price right now. So you let the news narrative actually mature. You let the whatever washout happens, and then you get the clear picture of the direction. If this does come down here, I am expecting a bounce. If this breaks through this, I'm expecting a little bit of a trace down before continuation up. But this is that key level we're watching, $74,000. Things are looking good. Let's not get ahead of ourselves just because it's kind of pausing. Now, we do have this massive bull flag here. Remember, if the ETF is denied, I expect the price action to probably retrace at minimum down to $3,400. That is this major level of support and resistance. This level here goes all the way back to October 2022. Resistance. We see up here support, resistance. So if the ETH ETF does get denied, I'm expecting at minimum the price to come down to this level. This is also a previous range high. So right here at 3,400, if we lose this, then I'm expecting to come back here in the 3,100s, potentially lower for a short period of time. But let's see how this plays out. This ultimately is where I'm watching to see where the bulls come in, because other than the ETH ETF getting denied, remember, that's not a condemnation of Ethereum. That's just mismanagement from our government. It doesn't mean ETH isn't still a great asset. It doesn't mean we're still not in a great bull cycle for crypto. So don't get it conflated just because maybe the ETH ETF doesn't get approved now, or maybe they give some weird notes about a delay or whatever. So let's just let it play out. If it does get approved, I expect, remember, everybody thought ETH was going to explode higher when the ETH ETF approval happened, and it went up on a wick and then dropped over the next couple days. Remember that. Buy the rumor, sell the news. The difference here, though, this shit right here, the difference right now, though, is that everybody thought, the majority of the market thought the ETH ETF approval was not going to happen, and this flipped on a dime. So we may be in for a different type of price action this time. However, you can't just hope on that. You still have to look at the data of most things, buy the rumor, sell the news. So if this does break out, of course, the target on this is, dang it. The target on this would be, it's like all the way up here, 46.85. Do I think ETH gets approved, ETH ETF gets approved and it goes there? I don't really think that's going to happen. I think there's two things that have to happen. This is a big level we have to pay attention to right here. This 4,000, I mean, it's 4,100 really, but let's just call it 4,000 round number. I'm expecting price action difficulty when we get to this zone. A little testing of the bulls, maybe bouncing in this order block zone down here in the 38 to 3,900 range. And if the bulls come in here, then we get that lift off. But I do want to point something out here. Let's look at something magical. Something magical. Let's go ETH. I'm going to do a clean chart. That's not it. ETH, a clean chart, Binance. Here we go. So beautiful right here. Look at this giant sort of cup and handle. This is essentially a neckline right here. So if that's the case, this is what we're kind of in store for. Let's actually come over here. This is the deepest part right here. What we're in store for is just absolute shenanigans, which is if we break out of this, that says $21,000. Do I think it's going to go $21,000 on the ETH ETF approval? No. Do I think it can get there between now and middle of 2025? I think there's a good likelihood of it. But let's not get lost on that. And look at this downtrend resistance. Look at this massive breakout in this zone. I mean, in fact, we can actually just draw a trend line from here up to there and measure this out. And that goes to about $6,500. So the $4,000 mark on Ethereum and then the $6,500 mark are the two main levels to the upside I'm watching. If things do, fail, again, I'm watching for a retest back here around the $3,000, $3,100 range. And if we lose that, I mean, potentially even coming down here if there's a washout. But I'm bullish regardless of what happens over the next 4 months in terms of where price action is going to be. Now looking at MATIC, MATIC's been kind of struggling a little bit, but it's still within this range. See, down, up. We had a little deviation up, but came back down, tested this range. So what we're really watching for is, we can move this down a little bit. We're watching for MATIC to break back above 77 cents. And then once, because this is this range low, if we can break above 77 cents, we need positive money flow here though. On the weekly, it's still negative. Let's go to the daily. Okay, zoom in. Oops, zoom in here. So still negative money flow. Let's get down to the 8-hour. Still negative money flow. So it's kind of suppressed right now. Why would that be? Because ETH is the star of the show right now. This does not mean MATIC's bad. It doesn't mean it's going to die. It just means everybody's going, hey, I want to ride the wave of the thing that's about to have a big narrative push. So there's a little bit of limitation on some of the capital that's going into some of these other ETH projects and probably some other alts as well. So much like we see Bitcoin typically running first and then Ethereum, if Ethereum gets its ETF approval, it'll likely run, it will pump some projects. But then after a short period of time, a week or two, maybe a month, then you'll start seeing a huge capital flow into the rest of the alts as well. Cardano also had this downtrend. Let's go to a clean chart. ADA. So we have this downtrend resistance right here. Boom. Actually go right here. This looks a little better. From this low to this high to this high to look, breakout, retest up. So this is trying to stair step, but the one thing that worries me on Cardano, this might have to do with ETF. You see the measurement here. Now, is this next impulse larger or smaller? It's smaller, showing the bulls tried, a little sell off. The bulls tried again, but the strength of the bulls got weaker in here. But this is also because we're testing this previous range high. If we can find support where we're at right now on this previous range high right here and push up and take this level out, the next level is up here all the way up at 57 cents, next range lows. And then the next level is going to be up here at 61 cents and so on and so forth. Everything's trying to do the work to make it happen. It's just, we got to be a little patient. I just added a link to my portfolio. Look at this triple bottom. Boom, boom, boom. Push up, having a little bit of a retrace here. If the market explodes, this may be all it is before this continues on as well. We see near rising wedge. A little precarious here. This is suggesting we may get a little bit of a sell-off, maybe down here into the 715, 720 range, maybe a little lower. Let's call it 7 to 720. If we lose that level, then I expect the price may be coming back down here to 634. But I do expect, remember, these tend to break bearish, but I would be more inclined to think the break bearish on this would be something like this, test, and then continue higher like that, unless we lose this point of control area around $7. ONDO, still ranging sideways. We got to clear this basically $1.03 sort of range, and then it'll be nice price action continuing up from there. If this does break down from here, we're watching for 86 cents, which are these range tops, 86, 87 cents. If we lose that, then yes, we're coming back down into these 70s, which would be a great opportunity for ONDO. Let's see what else we want to look. Aerodrome. How many of you guys still holding on to AERO? I took profits on AERO 3 times, left a small moon bag. Now, about a week or two ago, I added some more AERO with it down. But look at this. Remember 2 days ago when I was talking about this? 2 days ago, I was talking about this because this was scary. This was forming a descending triangle, meaning the resistance level that this is getting rejected at is descending and the base is flat. We've seen this in the past. Have huge repercussions for downside price action. However, look, we maintain this lower high, this higher low. I was talking about this. If we can maintain this higher low and push up, we might negate this pattern because it wasn't fully established. We did push up. We're finding a little bit of hesitation here at these previous range tops in this order block. Order block, part of the BitLab trading stack. The volume here, if we look here at the BitLab intelligence, we can see all the trend lines. This yellow line, look, broke up, came down, found support right around the weekly view up. Now I'm expecting if we do get a pullback, a bounce somewhere about here, $1.09, something like this, unless we just hold this and continue higher. Things are looking good. Things are feeling good. Let's talk about DOT as well, since I mentioned that as one of those that I'd be holding. Can move that down there. We can delete that. Looking at DOT, how many of you guys hold Polkadot? What was your buy point? Or have you only started getting interested since we all started doing some deeper research on it here at the HIT Network, and all of us are like, what do they got coming? Polkadot 2.0, new support for developers, the parachains ecosystem, just mind-blowing what they're building. I'm super excited about DOT. I used to not like DOT, and then I actually looked into it. I was like, this is a project to watch. Look at this. Loses a weekly VWAP. Rejection, comes down until it ultimately breaks through. The bullish test is when it comes back. Did it find support? Yes. So this means they want to play this positive spread. Back up. We got a little bit of a bearish signal in the short term right here on the 8 hour, and we're having a little consolidation. But currently, this is a bull flag. If this is going to continue without having a large retest, the target on this is, look at this, comes right here to this previous range low. That's at 828, 829. If this does retest a little further down, it's not the end of the world. We're watching, look, right where this weekly VWAP is perfectly in line with where this previous range top was. So you have confluence of basically a moving average that's important, and it's perfectly in line with where the top is, which is something you'll always want to look for, tops and bottoms of previous ranges. So coming back here, actually anywhere in this, above this descending trend line here, anywhere in the zone would be a great opportunity to stack some more into DOT. So I think that's all I got for today, guys. Everybody, we got a member stream at 2 p.m. You can go right below this video. There's a thing that shows you where you can, it's right. It shows you that you can join a BitLab member here for YouTube, or if you want to get in on our Discord community and everything we got going on over here. I mean, we're sharing charts, breakdowns, everything going on. I was asking people what coins they're interested in. We're going to be doing some TA on those in the member stream here at 2 p.m. I mean, you can request charts. We got some of the best chartists out here, Corduroy, John Dalton. I hop in here sometimes as well. Scalps. I mean, get involved with what we got going on over here. You can head over to lab.bitlabacademy.com. I'll pull it up right here. You can go to lab.bitlabacademy.com and let me see. And sign up 15 days for free. Right here. 15 days for free, and then it's a reduced price for the life of your account. Sign up here. I'd love it. It's a #1 way you can support the channel is by joining the BitLab YouTube membership or getting deeper and joining over here at the bitlabacademy.com. You can sign up there. I'm going to have the link on the end screen right now. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Every single one of you. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, and remember, head over to my Twitter page and retweet the Galactics thing so you can be entered to win $100 USDT. That's all I got. Adios. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for being here. Hope to see you at lab.bitlabacademy.com/Kelly. Come and be our friend. Hit that like button, sucker.